It's a bit weird to think that Payday 3, a game about robbing banks, only really has 3 total banks in it, and one of them was in both of the previous games before it. Well, today I'm here to talk about the second of those 3 bank heists in this game, and one that I actually really enjoyed, despite the fact that I'm going to suggest changes in this very video. Gold and Sharke. So Gold and Sharke is a much grander bank in scale than the one we see in No Rest for the Wicked, and it certainly feels imposing, but it turns out the vast majority of where you need to go is actually pretty simple to understand and in some cases take advantage of. Your goal is the vault, obviously, both for the money and for a server with information for the unfortunately lackluster story. But in order to get there, you need to bypass the multiple layers of security keeping the vault secure. You have the same obstacles in Loud and Stealth, but you tackle them quite differently depending on your approach. There's the main floor with a gate blocking access to the upstairs area, then past that there's a large door you need to open to access the vault room, and then there's the vault door itself. How do you tackle these? In Stealth, you're supposed to run around and find QR codes in side rooms within the bank to unlock the door to the HR department, at least assuming you didn't open one of the doors with a favor, and use the computer in there to find one of 3 names: Reese Brown, Liam Ackerman, or Eric Yeager. Whichever one of these names comes up, they'll be in the room with a red keycard hidden somewhere inside their office, which you need to find and grab to get to the upper floor. Once you're on the upper floor, now you need to find the server room to figure out what the code on the keypad to the vault room is, assuming you don't just end up brute forcing it or getting extremely lucky. The hack to find the code will inevitably be interrupted, making you go to one of the IT computers to continue the hack. Once you find the code and enter the vault room, you now have to flip 4 color-coded switch boxes to disable the lasers in front of the vault. After that, you need the blue keycard to open the manager's office, and then immediately after, swipe it against the vault to unlock it. This can be absolutely trivialized and go out by unlocking the manager's office and then just waiting for a buddy to push the computer button while you're standing in front of the vault. Once that's done, the vault itself is pretty easy pickings besides the singular camera inside of it, and the only trouble you'll really have is just with the sheer amount of bags you have to move downstairs into the garage where the van is waiting. It certainly sounds like a lot to manage, but when you're actually in the heist itself, it's not that difficult of a process. It can just take a while at points, especially the server room hack. In Loud, you can still go into the HR room and figure out which of the bank staff you need to find, but now instead of it being for the red keycard, you're grabbing the NPC specifically for a retina scanner in front of the gate. If that NPC is gone or killed though, or you just don't feel like bothering, you can just as easily drill the gate to get through it. Once you're upstairs, instead of hacking the server room, you have to... the circles are back. Okay. I can understand the argument of them being there to get you out of cover and engage in dangerous gunfights, but this is probably one of the worst examples of that in the whole game, and that's saying a lot. I say that for 2 reasons. Firstly, in Payday 3, if you have enough hostages, you can effectively prevent the assault from beginning for as long as you want by giving hostages to the first responders outside until you either run out or just don't feel like trading them anymore. In Gold and Sharke, more often than not, you're still in the negotiation phase when you have to stand in the circles, meaning you can just let them be completed while you're just letting your hostage trader, whether or not that's you, just keep sending them through the front door until you're done with the circles. But secondly, even if you're in an assault by that point, you're probably not getting shot at that much anyway when you're waiting for the roundabout to finish, either because other players are taking care of them, or just because these circles are actually not terrible spots for you because of the thick railing acting as some really good cover. Needless to say, these circles need to be removed because even playing devil's advocate, they don't need to be here, especially when they can't even serve their intended purpose. Anyway, once you're done with the circles, that also get interrupted by needing to go to the IT computer just like Stealth by the way, you're at the vault door and now you need to get the thermal lance to drill it open. Bile can either deliver the parts by dropping them on the roof or on the road, but either spot he drops them you need to go and retrieve them, or you can just stash the parts on the map ahead of time with a favor, meaning you have a lot more cover when getting them and you also don't need to wait for Bile. To keep the lance going, you need to find oxygen tanks in one of the many side rooms of the bank, probably hidden inside of a locker. Once that long process is done, though, you can loot the vault for everything that's inside, and now you need to make your way to the roof, either via the stairs or a zipline where you call in Bile in one of 2 spots on the roof. The real difficulty here is from moving all the bags
forward and back, and then forward and back, and then go forward and back, and put 1 foot forward
between the vault and the chopper, which is made significantly easier with the zipline favor. Or at least that's what you'd assume since it seems faster, but honestly I found it to be safer using the stairs instead to move bags since you have much easier access to cover that way. Mostly because of the snipers. But once you've gotten all the money into the chopper, you then fly away with your hard-earned cash. This heist, when I break it down, is actually really well designed for a base game heist, aside from the obvious part, so my changes here wouldn't actually be that large, only really adding in some more things to make repeat runs of this heist more interesting, because for as fun as this heist can be, it still runs into the issue of only ever being played the same way every single time, where it's just a question of how effectively you can complete it, which in stealth is fine, but in loud, not so much. So the first thing I'm going to suggest is something that actually already exists in Delivery Charge, which is a chance for an armored transport vehicle to show up that you can get some extra cash from. This wouldn't apply in loud since the vehicle would very likely drive away as soon as the alarm sounds, but it would be an interesting thing to add for a bit more money and a little more challenge as well. Otherwise, I don't think stealth needs much of anything else to be changed aside from the elevator shaft favor. This just confuses me, doubly so since there used to be a bugged challenge for completing the heist without using the elevator at all, but there's really no reason to unless you're already masked up, since in order to use the elevator shaft to move bags, you fall down and take damage, which causes you to mask up if you hadn't already. This would be easily fixed if you just changed this elevator to be like the one in Houston Breakout, where instead of just being an empty elevator, it instead had a zipline automatically attached to it that just moved you and your bags down without any hassle. Just make sure the bottom elevator door is closed, otherwise the guard down there might see your bags. I guess I can see some reason that this would be a thing if you don't have the skill that lets you use throwables while unmasked, but with the advent of Skills 2.0, this favor needs to be changed. Loud, on the other hand, needs a lot more variety in how you complete the heist, starting with those stupid circles. I already went on about how these aren't really that good in this heist, and I'm gonna say there should actually be a mechanic from, of all heists, Turbot Station instead. That heist has a remotely timed door that you open by activating a computer elsewhere on the map and then making a mad dash to the door to make sure it doesn't close on you. Something similar could easily be implemented here for Loud, where you need to use the manager's computer, which you wouldn't even need the keycard for in Loud since you can just shoot the glass to get in, and once that computer is activated, sets off a timer, like it does in Stealth. Within that time limit, you need to go to both of the IT rooms and activate those computers as well, and once all the PCs are active, press the panel in front of the door to disable the locking mechanism before time runs out, which would of course be more generous the lower the difficulty. If overkill was, say, 60 seconds, very hard would be 90 seconds, and normal and hard would be 120 seconds. Considering how easy it is to go between those spots already, this should be much more preferable to standing still for about a whole minute, and also accomplish the goal of moving you to a theoretically risky spot for the sake of progression, while also being done much more quickly in co-op by having one person in each computer already. Now, moving on to the raiding of the vault and looting the cash inside, the actual entering the vault isn't all that bad. You're defending a drill, it's a Payday classic, and you'll occasionally have to stop babysitting it from the sabotage squad to replace the oxygen tanks. That's fine and dandy. Now, while the drill does its thing, why can't you prep an escape that isn't just the helicopter coming to the roof to pick you up? I know it's been used quite a bit now, but a loot cage in the street would add some much needed variety to this heist escape and make the actual bag moving feel more hectic, considering how open the road is. I was considering making this a loot cage that you shot out the skylight for like in Rock the Cradle, but whichever one feels better to implement, I won't complain either way. Alternatively to the loot cage, you could just use the van in the garage as your escape point in Loud, just make it so that there's a chance Twitch won't leave the heist if you never even entered the basement to loot the bank, or better yet, just make it a favor like we already have in No Rest for the Wicked. It's kind of surprising to me how little there is I actually think needs to be changed with this heist, since it's one of the more fun ones, both in Stealth and in Loud. Besides this part! I always find myself enjoying this heist, even the bag moving parts are pretty fun, doubly so if you're smacking all the SWAT in your way while you're getting bags to the aisle in the chopper. Is it perfect? Obviously not, but it could use variety in Getaway and removing the circles, while Stealth doesn't need much tuning aside from that one weird favor that's more of a hindrance than an actual benefit now. Seriously, if you prefer playing this heist in Stealth with the elevator active, please tell me, I need to know why. Next is the one I know you've all been looking forward to, and I'm just hoping I can deliver on your expectations. With what's coming next, I might need to draw on a well of ideas I didn't know I had. But until then, I appreciate you watching this, and I hope you take care.